Hi, this is Don King,
And this is Brandon Ballantyne.
and welcome to another episode of Mobile Talk.
And this is our second video episode, and we're going to start out by talking about some of the things we learned from our first video episode.
Yeah, you would think it hadn't been that long.
Yeah, about
We've
10
already
minutes.
learned a few things. Yeah.
The
In fact,
first
if
thing-
people are wondering, no, I still haven't shaved, and we're wearing the same clothes. We
That's right.
tend to do multiple episodes at a time when we get the chance to record them.
And just to let you know, one of the things that we have learned is that there is a little live indicator, even on my computer, when the live part actually starts. So we know that much now.
Okay. All right. Yeah, and we're still going to be learning some stuff here. Some things haven't changed. It's still Mobile Talk. We still have our coffee. It's part of it. Or
That's right.
You've got your Mountain Dew.
Yeah, Mountain Dew today. It's too late in the day for coffee.
Oh no, it's never too late in the day for coffee. So, what did we learn? I mean, when we started doing this podcast some months ago, has it been
Gosh.
a year?
Yes, just about.
I guess so. Guess so, because we mentioned in our last episode there hadn't been a recording since November. We kind of half alluded to what had been going on, but if people didn't put it together because of Audrey Williams moving into the vice president's suite, you moving into ETS director's position, changing offices, doing 3 jobs at once. I've had a lot of stuff going on myself, although it's mostly family stuff. We just hadn't had time to get around to it. So still, there are things that have not changed. We're still talking about mobile and emerging technology.
That's right.
And we decided that this is one that's not particularly new. Google Hangouts has been around for at least a couple of years now, I think, right?
Oh yeah, I remember using it a long time ago. I have to say though, I've not used it in a few years, and it is seems to be a little sleeker and maybe, yeah, it looks a little bit better than what I remember.
Yeah. I know I've done a few video podcast type things with it, and it's been several months.
Mm-hmm.
I recall it as being much harder to get it started. So we ran into some issues just because we were unfamiliar with it in getting this one started, but learned a little bit about it. I think this is the kind of thing that a faculty member would be able to set up regular Google Hangouts with classes and that sort of thing. What we're doing here, by the way, is called, officially it's called a Hangout on Air. YouTube is automatically recording this as we're doing it. We could invite, I think it's up to a total of 10 people to be on here live with us.
Okay.
And people could watch live on YouTube if they had the link. They could watch while we were doing this. We could have thousands of people watching while we're recording it live. But the other part of it is it automatically stores the recording. So it just kind of gets around. I mean, what are some of the other things that we've used around the school, Brandon? I know Camtasia is one of those things.
Yeah, we use Camtasia Relay for lecture capture and for demo videos. And actually, we just switched to doing our live streams from like the Goins Auditorium or the Performing Arts Center. That is now broadcast through YouTube Live. So this is actually, what we're using here is real similar to what we've been doing, say the faculty awards ceremony or the last few faculty lecture series presentations have all been streamed through YouTube.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, what's the difference between YouTube Live and Google Hangouts, since YouTube is owned by Google?
So really, you push out a stream that you connect to your YouTube account, and then that just becomes your live broadcast URL. So we could send anything to that URL that we wanted. It could be a video camera, it could be an IP camera if we wanted to. Basically anything that you can feed into that IP address you can broadcast. So the big reason we switched to it is it works really well on mobile devices. And we had been using a flash streaming server, which was great for the time, but it really didn't play well with anything mobile. So definitely wanted to switch to that. I'll tell you a funny story. I was driving back from the Magnolia Avenue campus the first time we tested this system, and I was running a little bit late. And I actually popped my phone up on the dashboard and connected to the stream that I had intended on helping set up, and watched the first 5 minutes of it as I was pulling into the Hardin Valley campus and basically running into the auditorium, and it worked just fine. I was able to pick it up over 4G from my car while I was driving onto the campus. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Cool.
Yeah.
What, without getting too technical, what kind of bandwidth does that take? I got close to my maximum data on my plan this last time just listening to audio podcasts. I can only imagine what it would have been for video.
Yeah, I'm fortunate. I live really close to campus, and I have Wi-Fi at home and in the office. So usually the bandwidth is not even something that I have to pay too much attention to. So I haven't really looked at that, to be honest.
Okay. And it might be worthwhile mentioning as a sideways thing here, folks. Obviously for this, you might be watching it via video. We are going to continue to do an audio version of the podcast. So if you're getting it through iTunes, I have learned to download the podcast while I'm on Wi-Fi. That way I can listen to it while I'm in the car without streaming it, which that's what really was eating up my data. So let's see, what else have we learned here? I have learned that I need to pay attention to things like shaving and getting the flakes off of my face. And we had a little bit of messing around before we started with lighting, because the light here in my office is, I'd say it's a well-lit office, but a lot of it obviously is coming from that window behind me, which can make it hard for the camera to pick up. I don't know how much messing around that I want to do, because after all, we're not trying to set up a professional studio here. Part of our process is what can we learn about mobile and emerging technology that the average faculty member could use.
Definitely.
What are your thoughts on that, Brandon?
Well, I chose an angle for my office, the only one that's clean, so that's why the lighting is not so great here.
Well, and I like that we mentioned. I like that thing I'm pointing as if they can see. Yeah, the foil ball up there, which I thought maybe was some high-tech device. It's just a foil ball, right?
It's just a bunch of aluminum foil. Maybe we could have a whole episode on how it got here, but just rest assured, audience, it's a funny story. Oh, and there goes. There we go. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Well, and that's
that's
the other thing. If somebody could walk through that door right there behind you. I've got a sign on my door, but somebody could walk in just any moment. I think it's part of what people watching this are going to deal with as well. We're not trying to get into a TV studio.
Sure.
In fact, I've seen. I'm trying to think who it was. Catherine Rhodes at Roane State Community College. She showed something once about doing some quick desktop video, and I believe somebody came to her door while she was recording something for the class. She talked to them and then went back to it, and
I like it.
Didn't try to edit it out. And her students commented that they liked it, and just kind of made it seem more personable, which is a lot of what we're trying to go for here, I think.
Yeah, I recorded a summary for a class I was teaching a couple of years ago. We had a little weekly summary video, and I was using YouTube to record it. Actually, I think I was using Hangouts. And I had the camera pointed at my face, but the next day in class, some students pointed out, I said, hey, what kind of dog do you have? And I said, well, how did you know that my dog was there? It wasn't pointed at the ground. And they had heard the dog come in beside the desk and drink some water, and they heard the dog drinking the water without ever seeing it. So,
well, I'm just, now that I think about that, I'm just glad that they thought that it was a dog. I mean, there's all kinds of other things they could have thought that it was. Oh, man. Well, what else have we learned about this process? I'm sitting here thinking, one thing you and I both commented on, I'm using my laptop. Right now, it's just the built-in microphone. I forgot to bring the fancy microphone to the office with me.
Same here.
It's a built-in webcam. I did think to put it on top of a file box, and I'm not going to try to move the computer to show it to people. But I put it on top of a file box in order to get the camera itself up a little higher.
Mm-hmm.
Because when it's down lower, I will move it enough to just kind of show that. Yeah, you wind up with this looking up my nose, or it distorts. You know, I wind up looking even fatter than what I am. And you kind of ran into some placement issues, I think. Did you mention the desktop computer along those lines?
I didn't. Yeah, I'm actually on a laptop that's on a, I think I can show here. See kind of the setup that I have going here.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm using a laptop stand because the desktop happens to be pointing at the most filthy part of my office. I have just a bunch of budgeting files and paperwork and receipts and whatnot on my desk that I definitely didn't want to have in the video. So I figured I would just move the laptop to this side and have the nice empty wall in the background.
Okay. And I mean, these are real world concerns that you, our listeners, may deal with. A little thing I'm thinking about right now, and again, Brandon and I talked about this, where the web camera, if it's not going to feel like I'm poking my finger in your face, the web camera is right up here at the top. And of course, my screen then is down here. So if I'm looking at Brandon, as you would naturally do, then to you, our listener, it looks as if I'm looking below you. So I have a choice of looking right at the camera so that it gives you watching on YouTube the feeling that we're interacting with each other, but then I miss seeing Brandon's facial expressions. So we're trying to work that out, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon, you're just going ahead and looking at the screen, I think, or are you looking
at
the camera?
I can't look at the camera. It just feels too unnatural.
Okay, yeah. So I guess I'm used to feeling unnatural. I don't know, but just little things like that can make a difference. But then on the other hand, that's not a matter of equipment. It's not a matter of a lot of money. Just learn a different way of doing things. Mm-hmm. And I still think what we're doing right here works a lot better than trying to sit in your office and record something like this for students all by yourself. Because we do have an actual conversation going on here.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, it's great to meet in person, but you see what happens when two busy people try to record a podcast in person. You don't have an episode for 4 months.
Yeah.
So this
I hadn't even thought about that. Some of the folks who may know us personally, I spent 23 years at the Hardin Valley campus at Pellissippi State. Last fall, I decided to come to the Blount County campus full time. I live about 15 minutes from here. It just makes a huge difference in gasoline and time. And I have a severely disabled daughter, and my wife is partially disabled, so being close to home was important. But that has made it difficult for us to get together. So by having something like Hangouts or Skype or whatever, for us to be able to do this electronically, this was something we needed to work out. Well, as I look, one thing I'm missing here, I didn't set a little timer so I would know for sure how long we were running. I think we're probably over our usual time. So let's just say at this point, as we usually try to, here's how to get in touch with us. You can drop an email to dking, that's DKING, at pstcc.edu. For the video portion here, I guess I really ought to just get a little board or something that I can hold up with that address
right
on it. Yeah. You can also follow us on our blog, which I highly recommend. There's a lot of good information on that blog, well beyond what we do here on the podcast. That's at blogs.pstcc.edu/mobilefellows, all one word. You can also follow us on Twitter at PS_mobs. And I guess that's all I need to say there, isn't it? Twitter.com/ and then follow
I
that.
think so, yeah.
Okay, so we will keep cranking them out. We're planning on going ahead with Mobile Talk through the summer. We'll see what else we need to talk with you guys about. Until then, we will see you on the internet.
See you later.